Hello, and welcome to the Project Good podcast. I'm your host, Anne Marie Hilton. Project Good is a social impact podcast interviewing experts and advocates about the pressing problems that we face globally and hearing how they suggest we move forward in the future. The Project Good podcast is brought to you by Project Good Work. The goal of this podcast is to inspire people and organizations to develop a mindset that can move others to positive action regarding the complex social issues facing people on the planet. For July, we're focusing on the plastic crisis. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Dimple Behel, an urban and regional planner with a specialized focus on the environment. Ms. Behel has worked with the government in Odisha and India in the implementation of the state's urban strategy in 114 of the urban local bodies of Odisha. Her work is closely associated with black water and solid waste management and sanitation workers handling waste. Odisha is an eastern Indian state on the Bay of Bengal and is known for its natural beauty, rich biodiversity, tribal cultures, and many ancient Hindu temples. With Odisha's population that's very large, over 40 million people, Ms. Behal's work was critical to maintaining healthy conditions within the region. She is currently working with the government of Mumbai, focused on waste management and urban flooding. Through her work and long-standing passion for preserving and protecting the environment in India, Ms. Behel has gained an intimate knowledge and experience with the plastic crisis and is an online advocate and enthusiast, showing the public how she manages waste at home, how to make eco-friendly swaps for products they use, eat vegan-friendly meals, and enjoy nature. Let's get into the interview. India generates nearly 26,000 tons of plastic waste every day, making it the 15th largest plastic polluter globally. The plastic crisis is one of the greatest challenges facing planet Earth. Each year, at least 14 million tons of plastic end up in our oceans, and the consequences for sea life are tragic, from choking turtles to poisoning whales. Also, plastic has now been found in human bodies. Humans consume microplastics while eating seafood. They breathe them through the air or consume food with trace amounts of plastic packaging. Today, we'll be discussing the plastic crisis with Dimple Behel, who is an urban and regional planner with a specialized focus on the environment. And she is currently working with the government of Mumbai in India. As an urban development professional, Ms. Behel has a strong passion for conscious living and the environment. Her core interest areas lie in promoting environmental social justice and an inclusive urban development. She likes to create natural and built environments by promoting cities that are environmentally sound and socially inclusive. Additionally, Ms. Behel is a contributing writer for Down to Earth India, a magazine specializing in environmental issues in India and the world, and she is the host of the new podcast, Environmental Outlook. Welcome, Dimple Behel.
Thank you so much, Anne, for the beautiful introduction.
Thank you for your time. I'm so excited that we get to touch base and talk about the plastic crisis. And I want to congratulate you on a new role that you're taking on in another city with India. You are going around helping the entire country, so that's wonderful.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. Let's see how it goes.
Yes. So before we get into the questions, what inspired you to become an urban planner?
A very interesting question. So, I was generally a person who would love to interact with people. I was an extrovert. I'm still an extrovert. I generally love to hear the stories of the people. Previously, I never observed the cities and the settlements. How are they, coming up? But with the recent times, when I thought the people have a huge contribution in the cities, that is how I got into urban planning and the urban development sector. So I should say the people, the community, the stories of the community were the one that made me fall into this course. And because we say cities are all about people, cities are all about the stories of the people, that is why I got more indulged into this course. More interest goes more into this course. So that is how it happened. Yeah, and I feel fortunate now to get into, such a sector, such a diverse sector where I can work on numerous issues and which are globally renowned now.
Yes, yeah, no, it's really great that you are, I think a lot of people don't understand, like, how our waste really it affects all the different things of the environment. It's not just, I know today we're talking about plastic, but it's so many different things that we don't even think about.
Hmm.
You're in an area with a very large population, and so you are dealing with, I would say, maybe one of the world's most complex areas and regions to
Hmm.
touch on that because of the size of the population, and then also because the country has been around for a long time, and so
Hmm.
there's a lot of different things that are in place, and a lot of I'm sure you're encountering things that need change, and the complexity of dealing with such an issue is not just
Hmm.
about. It really isn't just about waste. It's probably dealing with
Hmm.
so many other things that we aren't even like aware of.
Yeah, actually, and that was one of the core reason for me, to get into more into dig deeper into the environmental sector in the urban development, because I feel in today's cities, especially the cities of South Asia, they have a much complex structure. They're the dynamics they have these days with the influence of politics, governance, and other issues like poverty, inequality. There are a lot of things coming up, and when we talk about environment, when these things got come up, environment goes on the back seat. Other things comes in the limelight. So this has been one of the reason when I realized we are focusing on too much economic development and GDP, that we are not even focusing on how are we going to look for our environment. And during then, climate change, of course, was not a so much buzzword like it is today. It was, people used to talk about it, but cities never knew how to take actions about it. So, even though now, when we all know climate is one of the thing which is coming, uh, which is knocking our door, we are still not prepared for it. We are still, focusing on our infrastructure developments like anything. Of course, those are important too. But how can we, maintain a balance, maintain a harmony with the nature, maintain a harmony with, the people around? Because environment is not just about nature or the natural environment. It's all also about the people around you. And in the cities, when we are forgetting all these things, we are forgetting about how to treat our environment. So this was one of the another reason why I wanted to dig deeper into this subject.
Yes, and in fact, I'm sure, of course, everybody in the world has utilized some, plastic items, but because we are, I would say, disconnected from it after we utilize it, of course. Can you explain how the plastic crisis is actually affecting the environment, and what's the damage that's being done?
Every year around 8 million metric tons ends up in the ocean. Some of it, whatever we generate plastic, only 9% of the plastic is getting recycled. So, more than that, we don't know where it is really going. Everyone says the plastic is going to be recycled. The plastic we are using today, it is we are going to incinerate it. It is going to be managed. We are going to convert it from waste to energy, but we really don't know where is it really going. Like since 1950s, humans have produced almost about 8.3 billion metric tons of plastic, and we still don't know where it has been. More than 60% of it, it's still existing on the earth. Think about it, it's more than 70, 80 years now, and we are still figuring out how do we manage plastic. Not just that, these plastics are going into the oceans, impacting our marine life, getting into our biodiversity and impacting, of course, affecting our food chain too. And indirectly, it is coming to us. We are eating them when we consume our fish food or chicken or anything. It is indirectly coming and impacting our health. That is how, we see these days plastic has come into our body, it has come in our lungs, it has come into our bloodstream. So this is how it is happening. Not just that, generally more of the plastic in India, if I talk about, it goes into the dumping sites. I shouldn't say those are landfills, because landfill is a very scientific term which talks about we segregate the waste and then we manage it. But it generally goes into the dumping site, because the major thing we don't do is the segregation of the waste. So because we don't segregate the waste, the methane from the the dumping sites are, getting released. The dumping sites are getting on fire. They are impacting the surroundings with the polluted air. So these are the things which are happening around us. And very recently, like 2-3 days back, when I went to Marine Drive in Bombay, which is a very famous tourist spot, I saw there was a garbage patch there, because the thing is, we are seeing the city today as a as a sponge of whatever we are doing today. How is it happening is, we are throwing our waste like anything. We don't know what to do with our waste. We don't know who will be managing our waste. We are still not sure, if this waste is having some impact on the environment. So I think the major thing is, we all need to think about, how these things are happening around the environment, how it is going to impact us indirectly. Yeah.
Now, you brought up one, really strong point at the beginning when you started talking about just plastic in general. One of the biggest things that, at least, I don't know, maybe it's been 20, 30 years that this recycling campaign has been running around the world. Recycle, recycle, recycle. And companies that, make products on the bottom of these bottles, they have now even I don't know how long it's been in place, for years, that they have a number system of, is it recyclable, not recyclable, and then, if it is, like where you would where you're supposed to throw it away. So why isn't recycling taking care of this issue? I know, like I've seen these campaigns like on TV and in some publications, that they're always pushing for you to recycle. So are we wasting our time with the whole recycling?
Yeah. So, and the plastic which came for the first time, the man-made plastic which has been created, I should say the human-made plastic which has been created in the world, it has been created in 1862. And we realized that in 1988, that the recycling has to be done. And that is when the recycling arrow came into the picture. That is how you see, moreover, these days on the PET bottles, on different kind of plastic packaging items, that this can be recycled and this cannot be recycled. So the major hindrance comes from the industries which are producing them. Some of them, so generally these kind of plastic have different kind of plastic in it. Okay. So some have some of them you don't even know those are existing in your lifestyle. For example, if you're using a non-stick pan, it has a Teflon coating, or you are using a nylon rope, or you're using a polyester fabric on your body, you don't even know this is plastic. So these are the things which, some of the things which we don't know which carry plastic, are not going to be recyclable anywhere else. The Teflon coating we are talking about on our non-stick pans, these Teflon coatings are going to enter into our body itself. These are going to go in the rivers and the oceans in terms of microplastics. So, there is no way for it to be recycled. It is only going to come to us, going to the food chain, or impacting the biodiversity around it or the ecology around it. So this is just one part. Another part is the recycling of the PET bottles or food packaging items, which we see these days. You see, many of the people are demanding these plastic bottles because these could be recycled. Many of the recyclers are recently available. They are making the plastic pellets of it, and then they are also sending into it to the cement industry, and that is how it is getting reused. But some of our plastic packaging items, like a fiber, or a thin plastic film, which we generally use to cover our food, we don't know where it is going to end to be. These days I've also seen on the notebooks also, some kind of plastic. There is one kind of plastic film on the notebooks over the cardboard. So we don't know where it is gonna be, and we don't know if it is going to be recycled anytime soon. And similarly, the syringes we use in hospitals, which are getting, we throw them in the biohazardous waste, but we don't know what to do about it. Many of them are not getting recycled. And the artificial limbs, the switches, we say, the wire coatings we are using, so plastic is everywhere. Many of it, that is why we say it is not getting recycled, because we don't know how to do it. Some of it we know it is going, but yeah, the major problem also happens is how to segregate this kind of waste, and how do we go about it. So when we are not segregating the waste, the challenge comes for recycling and reusing too.
I feel, I guess when I start to think about the problem, because, I was just thinking about, little food items and laundry things, but you started mentioning just, it's almost, we're addicted to plastic. I would say plastic is everywhere. Like there's no, like, from our clothing to, as you mentioned, syringes. I wasn't even thinking about that. It's when I started thinking, like, it's almost like if I think through just a regular day of my regular day, right? How many things that I'm maybe using that are plastic, just, when I get up in the
Yeah.
morning, and you eat, some breakfast, or maybe you're using a container of milk or juice that's in plastic. Even our very cell phones that we all run
Yeah,
around. Oh my gosh.
absolutely. Yeah.
We're all, and I know for a fact, I forget where I found the statistics, but I know there's more cell phones on the planet than there are people. And
Oh my God.
so, just cell phones alone, and we are in, like, there's over 7 billion people. So I don't know. So tell us, maybe we have 10 billion cell phones. That's a lot of plastic, just the cell phones.
Absolutely.
So, I feel like this crisis it's out of control. Like, like how, I guess, are there alternatives? Like, how can we start, like, taking control of this?
Yeah, so when we talk about the alternatives, we have a few kind of alternatives still available, and many of the governments are still looking for it. We don't have that available much in the market, because the packaging, the manufacturing which plastics comes up with, it is very very cheap in nature. Rather, the agricultural based plastics which we talk about, or any other kind of plastics we talk about, good packaging we talk about, they are much more expensive in nature. They are much more expensive, and it takes a lot of energy to make them. So one of them is bioplastics, which are made from feedstocks like cornstarch, sugarcane. But the problem with them is they won't compost in your backyard. They need some commercial composting operations, although these are made from the agricultural produce, but they doesn't include the petrochemicals, but these have so a high power that you can't even compost it in your backyard, and it acts as plastic in the landfill or the ocean, degrading it very slowly. So we also need to think about anything. If we say it is biodegradable, for example, any leaf, any vegetable or fruit peel also, if we talk about them, if it goes to the dumping site unsegregated, it is not going to decompose very easily. So this is one of the things which we still need to think about. Another thing is, in 1941, like, there was a prototype car which has been made of soya bean based plastic. So rather than just plastic or any other thing. So these were just prototypes. They have not been implemented yet. So because we don't know what to do and how to go about it. So like I said, paper, cardboard, glass are more energy intensive. If we see glass, once it is broken, of course it can be recycled, but recycling is more energy intensive. And same for paper and cardboard. Of course, it is biodegradable, but it comes with lot of energy consumption. And if we talk about the types of plastics we have these days, we have thermoplastics, we have thermosets. The thermoplastics are the one generally, who are softened when we heat them. You must have seen the fabric you are wearing, for example, a polyester fabric. If you are wearing, you are heating them, and then it is going to change its shape. It is going to soften it. Same with the nylon, Teflon, carpet clothes or any other furniture. If you have, these are thermoplastics. So when we talk about thermosets, once they are molded, they are going to stay in the same shape. For example, the melamine utensils we use, the silicon and silicon vessels we use for the microwave. And for the switches, like I was telling, when you turn on the fan, you forget to think it is also plastic. And it is not letting you catching the electricity. So that is also a good part of it. So, but we need to think about the single-use plastics more. Yeah.
Now, so I guess when you mention single-use plastics, are those the ones that are affecting us more than, I guess, all these other things of like, I guess, clothing? And I know there's the clothing is a whole crisis in itself. I think they have like I think I forget which, I think I want to say, is it Argentina or somewhere in South America? They have like where they dump all the clothes or something like that. And there's like it's like a fashion desert, they call it. And
Mm.
there's just tons and tons of clothes
Mm.
there. And so, but I guess, I guess all of it is concerning, but the most
Mm.
concerning, you would say, is the single-use plastic. And
Mm.
so, how can we, as just individuals, start attacking that problem?
Mm. So I'll go back a little. Go back. So in 1965, the plastic bags which came up, and we never knew that it is going to create a devastation in future, and it is going to pollute our rivers, it is going to pollute our ecology, biodiversity, marine life, and create air pollution, urban heat island, and many more. But in 1980s, we realized that plastic is a problem, like I said earlier. So in 1980s, even though we realized that it is a problem, we didn't do still much about it. There are still countries like India. India just passed the India single-use plastic ban, which is going to happen in July. So there are countries who are taking steps. The Bangladesh has taken the steps in 2008. So why these single-use plastics are concerning is because we don't know what to do about it after its one use. For example, the polythene bags which we use, and it is very difficult to figure out too what we call it as single use. For example, a pet bottle we talk about in which we drink water, for some of them it will be a single use. We'll drink water and we'll throw it on the street or in the dumping yard. for some of them, people grow plants in that, people reuse in some or the other way. So that is not single use. People are reusing it because they don't know what to do about it. And similar for clothing, similar for the cosmetics we use. The problem with that is much of that clothing we wear these days is made of very synthetic fibers, like very, very different kind of fibers, which is not going to help our body in any or the other way. For example, we wear polyester fabrics these days, which we feel are very attractive in nature, which we see generally, which we get inspired from the Instagram influencers or any other one. We see these kind of fabrics are going to do good to your body. They are good for the fast fashion, but in the end, polyester fabrics are the ones which are going to stay much more longer than your organic cotton t-shirt. Although the manufacturing process, the water required for the organic cotton is much more, but polyester fabric, it has petroleum in it, because most of the people doesn't know what is in the plastic, how it has been made. So it is generally made from the natural gas, it is generally made from the petroleum, like I said. In Western Europe and China, plastic is made from oil. North America and Middle East, plastic is produced from natural gas using ethane. And then ethane crackers happen. That is how polyethylene happens, and your clothes, your plastic bottles, your food packaging comes up. So, like I was saying, for the cotton cloth, if you are wearing it, it is going to do good to your body. Of course, your body will be able to breathe it, like you have. Like you breathe with your nose, your skin also breathe with your pores. So if you are going to block it with the polyester fabric or with the plastic fiber, of course, it is not going to breathe properly, and it is going to get into your body in some or the other way. And same for the organic cotton, that it is going to do good to your body. And not just that, even if you throw that fabric after it loses its color, after it loses its texture or something like that, it is going to degrade in the environment. But if you talk about the polyester fabric, it is not going to do good to the environment too. Like you said, in Argentina, there are a lot of dumping sites which are happening, which are having a lot of clothing, clothing dump sites. This is because or most of the companies are not even concerned about where their waste is going to end up, where their after the consumers produce their after the consumers consume their products, where are they going to end up. That is how you see that. And some of these companies have also started their reusing campaigns. And not just that, a few of them have also a few of the startups have also come up using these these fabrics or tires or anything to reuse them. So this is how it is happening, which the thing which we call it as single use, it is currently impacting our water bodies. It is choking it, creating the flooding around the areas, in the low-lying areas. It has to be like in Mumbai, it has to be cleaned before every monsoon. You have to clean those drains from the plastic and the waste people have thrown in the drains. Otherwise, the drains are going to choke. The choking of drains are going to lead to the urban floods, or waterlogging around the city. So it will affect the commute too. So the issue is not just a smaller issue. It is taking up a picture of a larger issue which we have to think about.
Yes, you just brought up a point that, I think almost no one knows other than people who are dealing with it and are professionals like you. You brought up the point about the flooding. Now, I never linked plastic to the flooding problems that are going on globally. But now it makes sense because right now I think everybody is just thinking like the earth has turned on us because
Mm.
we've been bad, but they don't understand how, I guess, how we've been bad. They just think like from maybe a obviously we know we haven't been doing all the things that we should be doing, and then there's of course the moral look at things. But
Mm,
now you bring up a very specific and concrete detail that I think a lot of people don't know about how the plastic that we are utilizing is attributing to these flooding problems, especially in the cities.
mm,
I don't think anyone, like I have, I don't think I've ever had that said, and I haven't seen that in any common news area that really would show to people how they are literally impacting the problems that we are seeing globally. And I think that would be something that is so powerful to show to people that this bottle of shampoo that you just
mm.
thought cleaned your hair is
Yeah,
now causing this devastation in the city, and now maybe cost people their lives and livelihood. Uh,
absolutely.
yeah. I don't think, that, what you have just said is like, put a huge light bulb. And I think it's something that has to be highlighted because that's the thing that is a big argument right now with all this, the push of climate change is that there's the argument of course, like, one side says, there's climate change, and the other people says, well, it might be just a natural thing happening in the earth and it's not really climate change. But this point, brings it to a different perspective and kind of proof of how we are really affecting the planet and causing the problems that we are seeing. So,
Absolutely.
yes.
You
Um,
well said, you well said, like the bottle of shampoo, we don't know where it is gonna go, and very less industries or companies tell you to bring the same bottle again and we'll refill it. Rather, that comes in the single use plastic too. We throw them on the street, we don't know because what to do about it. And you think about yourself, how many shampoos are you consuming in a year?
Right. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. It's it's like it's crazy. Like even though we may die and leave the planet, we leave a long trail.
Absolutely, absolutely. We have a
Yes.
great footprint on the earth.
Yes. Um, Now, I wanted to talk about, since you have, you specialize in the environment, and of course, you're working on improving all of these different issues. One of the things, I guess now we kind of understand how plastic and sewage is linked. But let's see, right now, I know before previously, this is a little different than your position that you were working on or you're working on currently, but about wastewater issues. I think people, that's an issue I think that people are not familiar. So,
Hmm.
how is that, I guess, tied to plastics and the environment? You can just elaborate a little bit. So,
Hmm.
mhm.
So if we talk about the wastewater issue, there are two kind of waters which generally come. One is the black water and one is the gray water. So black water is the water which we generally flush in the toilet. So that's the black water. Other than the black water, everything is gray water. For example, if you're taking bath, the water which is going to the drain, it is going to be the gray water. Same with the kitchen, same with anything which we are using water for domestically and it is going into the drain, it is the gray water. So I'll talk about the black water in detail more because I've closely seen how it is, how the things are working around it. So generally, if you see, most of us are really unaware about what are we really doing and where the things are going to end up. For example, if we are pooping in the morning or in the night, we don't know where it is going to go, how it is going to impact the ecology around it. Not just that, what is happening is, you must have observed it, your poop, I don't know about the western countries, I'm not sure about it, but in India mostly there are kind of septic tanks which are there, where your poop generally goes and then it goes to the drain. Not whole water, but yeah, some of it. So the extra water goes into the drain, and the larger part, the scum part, settles down. So and then it has to be cleaned, like every 3 to 4 years and something like that. The solid part which turns out into the soil. So when we talk about them, uh, generally these days, very unnecessary things which we don't know where to throw is we throw that in the shithole. Like for example, our toilet. For example, condoms, used sanitary napkins. We throw them. Some shampoo packets too. Some plastics. We throw them into the toilet. And then generally, because it is also a part of the solid, it is the part of it is a solid part. It generally settles down with your poop, so which is a scum. And when somebody has to come and clean it out, generally suction pumps, or it is cleaned by the yeah, in India we call it as cesspool trucks, honeysucker trucks. So these are the ones who generally take out these. But who comes with that? A machine can't operate each and everything, right? So they comes with a lot of people comes and operate those, and then they have to look into how the poop has been digested and had been decomposed in the septic tank itself, and that also contain a lot of plastic. So some of this plastic doesn't even go to this machine, or this honeysucker machine. So these plastics have to be taken out by the hands from the operator itself, or the helper itself who is doing it. And not just that, it some of it goes into the drain. Then the drain has to be cleaned. The drain chokes, like I said, it creates urban flooding, water logging around it. And similar with the gray water. In gray water, when you have an open drain, you throw anything there. You throw at least when you cut, you must have observed, when you cut a shampoo sachet, you cut generally very slantly, and then the smaller part which is there, we don't know where it is going to go, and nobody is going to find it that in the ocean or in the drain. We can find the bigger particles, the bigger plastics in the drain, in the oceans, but we don't know where these smaller particles or smaller sachet plastics are going. So these are the things which are going to bother the water, our urban water also, and it is going to impact our water security too, because some of them, basically in India, where the sewerage connections are there, during monsoons, uh, the gray water or the black water get mixed with the drinking water, so it impacts your health too because of its choking, because of plastics. So this is how it is happening with the help of when you don't care about where your plastic is really going.
Wow. You have put in, you've made a picture that I can, it's like there's no escape there's no escape from like plastic and all of these things. It's a like continuous cycle. And I guess, how can we, I guess, obviously right now, for the people that are going to be listening to this episode, usually people are that are listening to things want to be more aware, but for the general population that may not care or have as much as passion about this issue, even though I believe they should, because it's obviously affecting each and every one of us. How do we start to get people to do alternative things? Like, for example, like right now, because I've been obviously aware of the plastic crisis, and it's almost impossible, I think, to eliminate all plastics from your life. But I've tried to do things myself, like use a bar soap instead of
Hmm.
using a pump soap.
Hmm.
And same for like a shampoo. They now have
Shampoo bars.
shampoo bars. I guess, how do we start to implement and push people to really go that way?
Mm.
I think it
Mm.
requires a lot. I don't know.
Mm. And you are doing already really good, I must say. Yeah. So I would say, like you said, they are great examples to switch to, from a pump body wash to a, to switch to a bar soap or a bar shampoo. So these are kind of good practices, but for Indians and for the people who are who want to live really close to nature, there are many more alternatives which are available for these products. So in India, in Ayurveda, there are a lot of things which we can really do for our body, for our for our scalp and everything around it. So we don't need we don't need the so-called much needed products for your body or the SPF or something like that. So for me, what I do is I make my own hair mask every time I have to wash my hairs. So that is like purely zero waste, no plastic and everything. It is just a mixture of few kind of powders in Ayurveda, and I just apply it. And similar kind of things could be done in your areas too. When you know something is good for your body, for example, there's one thing called as basin, or which is good for your body, which helps your body to clean its pores. So you can use those kind of powders which you generally use for eating too. That could be used on your body. So there is one funda you can think about. If you can eat something, you use only those products, the one you can really eat. For example, you can't eat your SPF rated sunscreen, but you can apply it on your body. So if you can eat something, it means that could be applied to your body. So this could be one of the thing which we can take it off. Another thing you can do is, mostly single when we talked about single use plastic, I missed to talk about the plastic straws we have. Every time we go to restaurants, these are your beverages are served with the plastic straws. So these plastic straws, could be replaced by a steel straw or any kind of straw which is kind of reusable in nature. So you can easily carry them anywhere you are traveling to. Carry your own reusable glass, for which you can reduce, because in India, and they serve the juices or the beverages in on the street side. The hawkers and vendor, they serve that in the plastic. Okay. So for me, the best way to do it was to carry my own, steel cup or a steel bottle, to carry and drink my juice in. So that was the best I could do. And whenever you're going for shopping, please avoid, using plastics and, plastic packaging. Carry your own bag, cloth bag, or any other bag which could be reusable. Even it is for vegetable, try to shop locally, because when you go and enter the malls, big shopping malls, stores, even though they provide good kind of good discounts, or maybe not, they come up with good amount of plastic packaging too. So to avoid these, you may go to the local shops and may bargain, and then bring your vegetables and fruits at home without carrying a plastics. So these kind of things you can easily inculcate into your into your lifestyle. Maybe reusing the plastics which you already have, maybe making a bottle garden at home, you're reusing the shampoo bottles, or water bottles or anything. So the basic idea is, if you're not able to use that plastic, please give it to someone for them, if it could be reused. Very recently, I got a message. One of a person had hangers at their home, plastic hangers at the home, and that was for a child, like for her children. So and like her children, as her children were grown up, and she was like, I don't know what to do about it. So I told her, why don't you give it to the orphanage or any other new mom which might be needing this. Because we don't know, we blindly sometimes we over consume the things which we don't even need, which is not even long lasting for us. So when you have done that, I think it is the time to make a move and shift your lifestyle from that. I think the biggest change we can do is not to shift your lifestyle, but to change your life in such a way that you live a very less plastic friendly lifestyle, matlab very less, so that you consume less. Of course it is not possible for you to give up on plastic like 100%. It can't happen. You can do your really best like you are doing. So this is what we all can do.
Yes, I think that's, I think it's important that, not only just individuals, but obviously the companies. One thing I forgot to ask you before, and it was something that you kept mentioning each time when it came to alternative, methods that were, kind to the environment as well as kind to human beings. For instance, when you were talking about instead of wearing polyester clothing to wear cotton clothing, and one of the things that you mentioned that is that the creation of the garments of cotton garments is more energy intensive. And so I wanted to kind of look at that like a little bit. Now, when all these things are more energy intensive, is it just because it costs, I guess, is it costing more money? Is that why, companies perhaps don't want to invest in it? Like that's a question I always have in my head. I'm like, well, at the beginning of time, people were wearing cotton clothing and obviously organic clothing. So is that energy intensiveness also bad for the environment, or is it just because of money?
So the answer would be yes and no, both. Because I would say yes, because these days, if we talk about many industries and companies, which are the startups which are coming up these days, talking about they are making organic clothing or made of organic cotton and natural fibers. It comes with they say it comes with great cost. It might be like that, but that already fashion industry is $1 billion industry. So when we talk about all these things, it means a lot of profit, because everyone these days talks about climate, talks about what kind of fabrics you should be wearing, talks about your human health. Everyone should be concerned about what they should be wearing, right? So these companies have their solid agenda, to come with such kind of course, eco-friendly fabrics, but they sell all these things at a premium cost, because they know the people who are well known about it, who know about climate, who know about all these issues in a wider way. They have a lot of money and they can invest a lot of money in it, because if you want to save the environment, according to them, the fashion should come at a premium price, not at a affordable price. So these are the things which are generally bothering the public more, and that is why they are also switching to different kind of fabrics like polyester, which is very cheaply available and very easily, I should say, manufactured. It is not expensive in nature. So like I said, because the currently the demand is coming from very premium segment, the people who can really afford. For people like a middle class or a low income class, that person cannot even think about what is happening around the globe. If that person is happening, do you think it is going to buy a fabric which is selling at a premium price? Of course not. That person is going to switch to a polyester fabric itself. So that is how the chain goes on and on. There are very less brands who are giving these fabrics, cotton fabric or recyclable fabric, at a very cheaper price. One can really afford it. So I should say this should not be happening, because earlier when the cloth industry was coming, I think cotton was the one of the first which came up as a garment to wear. So earlier that was also very cheaply available, but now since polyester and other kind of stuff is easily available in the market, people are going to, since they have demand, it is coming at a cheaper price. So if we create a more demand, there might be a case that these organic cotton or cotton fabrics might come at a lower price. Because if you see in the Indian market, cotton has, and the price of the cotton fabric has increased drastically, because in summers itself, the price goes on and on. Earlier, with the fabric which was which you would be getting for 100 rupees a meter or something like that, but now you are getting for 250 rupees a meter. So since the demand is coming, people know the premium segment is only demanding cotton, not anyone else. So that is why it is happening. But we need to also be mindful that if we also need to think and take care of our body, take care of the planet, we can make a choice. Maybe there are bigger brands which are selling these products.
Yeah, that makes a yeah. I'm glad that you addressed that. Just because I was just thinking, everything is just about money, but now understanding a little bit deeper about how everything is kind of working together. Yeah, hopefully that leads to like a push, I guess, of going a little bit of how things used to be in the quote unquote olden days.
Yeah.
When we were, when we didn't think we were that happy, but we really were. We were a lot happier and healthier.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to let our listeners know about your new podcast that is launching, the Environmental Outlook podcast. So, if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about what your podcast is going to be about.
Yeah, so the Environmental Outlook podcast, we are coming up with, it brings out stories from across India on people battling and adapting to continuously changing environment in this era. We'll be talking about living a conscious life with more environmental awareness, and making you think how your tiny actions are going to impact someone else around you, and how it is going to create a global impact. So we are going to bring the stories of the community, from them, the stories from them which you can learn. And these will be the people, of course we are focusing as of now on India. We'll be talking about what kind of emerging environmental risks which are coming up, and what are they really doing, and how can you contribute towards it. So it will be very interesting storytelling podcast which you should stay tuned to, and I'm looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to hearing about, all the different issues and things that you're going to be talking about too. As I'll be honest, I never, I guess, saw myself as an environmental activist. But when I look back through my lifetime, I think it was just incorporated in my life as a child, just because of how my parents thought. Both of my parents came from farm families. And so coming from farm families, understanding the earth was, essential to survival. So for me, all these like things of, carrying an extra, carrying your grocery bag, your cloth grocery bag, or if you forgot your bag, use paper, were always, pushed on me. But, as I have, gotten to know more and more people in the world, I guess I naively didn't think that other people weren't thinking about that too. Your podcast should be hopefully very eye-opening to a lot of people about how they can start taking initiatives to make changes to, at least take the baby steps to start making a difference in our environment, and hopefully start contributing to clean up a little bit of this, climate change and, global disaster issue.
Absolutely agree.
Now, I just have two more questions for you.
Hmm.
This one is a little bit to go introspective for yourself, but what's the most interesting or important thing you have learned about waste or plastic issues as someone passionate about the environment?
I think if someone has to implement it, then I should say, then the person should start with segregating their own waste. So, what does it really means is, if, keeping it very simple. There are two kind of waste. We have a wet waste and a dry waste. So wet waste is generally the waste which can be easily decomposed in the earth, and the dry waste is the one which takes some time. Maybe it may contain some plastic, it may contain some glass. So these are the ones generally who has to be recycled. So when you start doing segregation, many countries are promoting it. India is also promoting, but there are hardly initiatives happening on the ground since people are not aware about it. So I think the one of the first step, baby step you should take about managing your own waste is segregating the waste. And if around you the waste is getting managed in some or the other way, at least try to figure out who is managing it, how it is getting managed, because that is how you will answer your own question, that whether you should be buying unnecessary plastic in your home. For the wet waste, it's very easy to be, since it is very easy to be decomposed. You can do composting at your in your farmyard or a courtyard or anything. It is very easy to do, and then you can reuse that for your plants. That's very easy. So but for the plastics, you may need to rethink where the plastic recycling is happening, what kind of plastic they are taking. If you're a urban local body which is collecting your waste, what kind of waste they really want to see, whether they are promoting electronic waste, the bottles they want to see, what are they doing with it. So once you get to know, okay, one of the plastic has some solution, you can continue using that, maybe reduce it, or it's up to you. But of course you can't make your lifestyle absolutely zero waste. So plastic free, or yeah. So this is one of the thing which you can do. Composting is another thing which you can do. I think these are the biggest suggestions I have. And for composting, maybe you can see if in a community, in your colony or in your city, some composting thing is already happening. In some of the cities of Odisha, composting was really happening, but the people were not giving the segregated waste. Then you see there is always a challenge with it. Then you think, if composting is happening, the waste is not getting segregated, then who is segregating this waste? Then in India, like, there are sanitation workers. Of course, everywhere there are sanitation workers who segregate your waste, who manage your waste. And then what are the impacts on your health, on their health, are happening because of your waste. So once you start questioning these, once you start answering, matlab, roaming around you, you can easily figure out what kind of practices should be doing, and you will be mindful of your practices.
Yes, and I think mindfulness in this plastic crisis is the number one thing that we must all do. And so, since we know that I guess plastic is all around us, and I guess unfortunately also in us, how would you say that plastic has become a reflection of our current society and culture?
I think, mm, if you start comparing it, earlier your parents, your grandparents never used to uh, overconsume things. Maybe because of lesser money, maybe because of lesser economic development. But the more we are developing, the more our power to have money increases, and the more money we have, the more we are consuming it. With the more consumption we have, more impact on the planet. So, I think we should be very mindful of all these things. And once we are mindful of, the people around us will be also mindful about it. So I think we should be very careful about the beautiful TV ads which talks about, it is eco-friendly, it is sustainable. Ask them on what basis they are telling it is sustainable. Reach out to their website if you're trusting that brand. What are they really doing? And not just that, our diet plays a great role in that too. If we have to take care of our health, because when we talk about taking care of environment, the environment comes with you. So once you have to take care of once you start taking care of your health, the things around you will start come falling into the place. So I think it is a major concern that we should change our diets. We should change our footprint around how we see ourselves as, and then start to tell others also how it is changing your life and how it is changing the life of the planet. So this is what we can really think of.
That's very well said. I guess, yeah. So one of the important things, I guess, that is often missed by so many people is that this plastic waste, I guess it's kind of the same along the same lines of that question, is that how we plastic, we throw everything away, and so we're not even thinking about the people who are dealing with the cleanup of the messes that each and every one of us on the planet is making. And so I know that you have an intimate daily interaction with these people. So can you give us an insight of the conditions that they are dealing with?
Yeah, and so I feel this is a very critical issue we should be talking about, because when we talk about the people who are going to get impacted from the climate change or the environmental risks, these are these are the most important ones we should be talking about. So when we throw our waste, when we throw or when we consider something as waste, we generally tend to forget who is going to manage this waste. uh, we tend to dispose our sanitary napkin, condoms, or food packaging without even washing it. So these kind of things create a larger impact around us and around the people who are going to manage this waste. Like I said, if you are not going to manage your waste, someone else would have to manage your waste. So when you would see in your community composting is happening, recycling is happening, at what extent it is happening and what are they really doing? For example, if you are having a Coca-Cola bottle, if you're drinking a Coca-Cola, you are disposing the same bottle without even washing it. So if it has to be recycled, if anything has to be recycled, it has to be washed and then it has to be sent to the recyclers, and then it has to be reused again. So the similar thing is happening. Yes, the similar thing is happening, and we tend to forget who are the people they are doing it. So these people, they come from the marginalized sections of the society. They don't have access to better health. They do their work without wearing gloves and masks because they don't have access to all these things. Some or the other time they don't even have the access to water to wash their hands to. They don't have a sanitizer. They don't have the access to toilet. Where they can where they can be hygienic, and where they can feel hygienic about. So and handling this waste is a very large phenomena. Think about yourself. You are in a dumping yard and in front of piles of waste. Will you be able to stand in front of it? Of course not, because so think about the people who are going to handle this waste, who are going to touch this waste, who will breathe in this kind of waste. So the impact they'll be having every day is going to accelerate it day by day. And the government which is currently working on all these issues are, some or the other governments are providing incentives, but we need to look about what kind of conditions they are really working in. For, like I was talking about, cesspool machines who generally cleans your septic tanks, the people, there are people comes with that, they have to come in contact with your partially digested or fully digested poop. So think about it, how you will feel if someone would do something like that. And in India, it is still, manual scavenging is still prevalent, in which, generally people cleans the septic tanks or the pits where the poop is generally flushed, or the sewerage lines. So this is the place where most of the deaths in India takes place. And who are those people? Those are already the people who belongs to the lower caste, who belongs to the marginalized sections of the society, who don't have access to better health, and their family is going to be at risk. So, all these things we need to look into, and ask yourself, go around your surroundings, see what is really happening, what is the condition of sanitation workers around you, and what are they really doing, how is the waste around you is getting managed, where is the plastic going. So once you start answering these questions, your lifestyle will automatically change. Because me and Anne talking about these plastic issues will not make sense until and unless you go on the ground and see what is happening around in your surroundings.
Yes, I'm very glad that you brought up that point, because it's just we just don't realize. I think each individual does not realize the impact that they are making on the planet, because each of us, we're all, of course, just living in our own worlds, and we kind of think that we aren't in, I guess, if we can say, and kind of even like a higher level thinking sense, a lot of us don't think that we're making that much impact in the world. But just our living makes a tremendous impact. Here you are, you could be on the shores in Belize, and you end up affecting somebody in Moscow, or or well, the shores in Moscow, but you affect somebody in Moscow. It could happen, right? Or you're in India and you affect somebody over in Egypt. You don't even know, because you don't know where and how all the plastic that is attached to you, where it travels, where it goes, how it can be from the water, because we're all using the same water essentially. Goes in and out from the air to the ground continuously. So we're all experiencing all of these resources together. And it's really a time, we are in a critical time, I guess you would say, the tipping point, that this issue of plastic is, showing us how we treat each other, how we treat the workers that deal with the cleanup from each of us. And also it shows our larger level of how we see ourselves as, a society, as our humanity. If we want to really make a difference and save ourselves and our planet, then we need to really start to look at everything that we are highly, highly connected. A person that you never met in the world could be affected by something that you use for 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
It's time for us all to think globally like never before, in order to really make the change that we need to be making. And I don't know if you have anything, I guess, that you'd like to say to everyone to, I guess, push them to be more environmentally, conscious, because I believe we're at a critical time.
I think most of the things I've already covered, but yeah, I think it's high time for all of us to think and make our create our own impact in our community. Like I said, we can visit our surrounding and check it out how the things are working around us. And once we are aware, you can make your parents more aware. You can make your community more aware about it. So, and then when you visit other shops, you can recommend the companies, you can recommend the um, street stores or anything which are doing something wrong. You can recommend such kind of things to them which are really eco-friendly. So maybe you don't know your individual steps is going to change someone's life. So I also got into all this. I used to believe in I never used to believe in climate change. Rather, I used to feel that climate change is one of the thing which is anyway going to happen, so what should I do with it? But one of my friend told me, we had a great interaction, and that is how I got into all this. I was like, even when I talk about we are going to plan our cities, we are into development sector, why shouldn't I be the one who should be starting all these things? Because if I don't know what are the challenges, nobody else will be able to see what are the challenges. So now at this point, I should say, it is I'm doing great, and everyone should step up and try to do what they can really do. Maybe not regarding waste, not regarding plastics. If you can do something really for the community, for the environment in any way, it will be very helpful.
Yes, I agree 120,000%. So I'd like to thank you, Dimple Biel, for your time and insight today. And to learn more about this topic, or Miss Biel, go to Low Hanging Flowers or the Environmental Outlook on Instagram, and you can learn more about how you can make a difference personally on her podcast, The Environmental Outlook. If you have a passion for an unserved community, a social justice problem, or want to change minds, contact Project Good Work at projectgood.work to start your project of change today. Subscribe to our mailing list at projectgood.work/subscribe to get our episodes and blog articles sent to you each month. Plus, get a 10% discount on any project you start, always at projectgood.work. To our listeners, thanks for tuning in to Project Good, where we're focused on what matters.